afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Fat Cat Collections back at you with another product review. And today, kind of an out of left field kind of product, something new to the channel. Not cologne, not watches, not leather jackets, not things to make us feel simply sexy and amazing. So, today, this is actually a functional product. So this is, let's get right to it. So this is a pair of heated gloves. Now this company, like a lot of Amazon companies, they represent, or the people who contact me in a lot of these cases, represent different brands. They're usually like marketing companies, or they're just kind of these companies that make several different products under different brand names. The brand today we're talking about is Matkao. It's M-A-T-K-A-O. And first they reached out for some string light poles, which I don't really have a use for. They're more of like some, but I encourage you if you do, need something like that, check them out. They're string light poles that actually allow you to hang string lights kind of on a temporary basis. I guess you could use it permanent, but they're more of like, kind of like celebration gatherings. You want to put up some decorative outdoor string lights. I said, that's not really going to work, for my purposes. So they said, what about some heated gloves? So I said, yeah, that looks pretty interesting. I'll tell you, a lot of times over the years, when one of the very few people that go out and do any kind of winter crabbing, it can get pretty cold out there. And let me tell you, we're not in any kind of boat that allows us to get any kind of coverage. It's really kind of a lake boat. So we get into some situations where we're pretty cold, and you never know. So, generally, in the middle of winter, we're bundled up like I'm not shitting you, 7 layers deep. And our hands and feet are always cold. So I figured this is something I could possibly use for the future. So again, heated gloves. As far as the unboxing concerned, when you open this up, you're going to get the gloves, which I already removed from the box. You do get a nice carry case or a storage bag, which is kind of nice. But I do think the box is of decent quality where I'd probably just store this in the box. But they do give you the bag. User guide, although this is pretty self-explanatory, and you do get the charging cable. Nice thing about this particular charging cable is that there are two, I believe they're like almost like a, I don't know, like a standard DC power supply plug. I don't normally get too involved in showing you guys this, but I like the fact they didn't give you 2 chargers. One charger will charge both batteries, because there are 2 batteries, one for each hand, of course. So let's not spend too much time on that. User manuals, really nothing to really talk about that. These are pretty self-explanatory. So here are the gloves. They're made of like almost like a neoprene material, and I'm giving you guys my first impression. I'll read what they're actually made out of if it's not neoprene, but they do appear to be and smell like they are sort of a neoprene type material, if not neoprene. They do have some rubberized gripping, kind of like a little rubber kind of dots along the palm. And of course, they do have a little bit of a grip type material on the fingers. Then of course you have sort of what appears to be like almost like a leatherish type material on the index fingers. These gloves will also allow you to work with your cell phone. So if you're out in the cold, you're using a device, maybe you're not out crabbing, right? Maybe you're out, working in construction or doing something like that where you have to actually access an electronic device. You could still use these with the touch screen sensor, so they work. So really straightforward as far as the operation. Both gloves have a little zipper, which does have like a weather resistant stripping. It's like a rubber seal that closes over the zipper once you close this. You can see it's open. And on the inside you have your battery pack. And so let me just gently, and I encourage you, if you do get this, to be a little cautious on how you put this all together, because the wire is really thin on these. And you want to make sure you don't damage this in any way. And I can see this getting damaged if you're a little careless. So just be careful. The battery pack basically just unplugs like so. And you will actually plug this into the power supply. Now these are fully charged. Mine did come fully charged. So what you want to do is when you get these, and let's say you do have to charge them, it is recommended you always throw these on anything electronic on a charger. Just to make sure you're giving a nice full charge to that battery. Although this does read fully charged on the display here. I'll show you in a second. But nonetheless, it's a good idea. You can plug these in and then get the battery. And just, I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence here. Just be careful. Just be mindful that this is a pretty thin cable and you want to be careful. They do give you instructions that recommend you kind of putting the battery in first, then plugging it in. So you might want to follow those. But basically, if you were to follow that route, slide the battery in, then plug it in like so, and then just tuck it right in there. And then, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. Everybody knows how to operate a zipper. But, that's basically I'm going to tell you anyway. So you zip it closed. And then you have your control panel right off to the side. Really straightforward. You just press and hold to turn it on. You'll see it light up bright red. And then, of course, you have the top sensor. The top display is your battery life. You see in this case, actually, you can't. Hopefully you can see that. It is reading 4. And then, of course, you have your power mode. So you press it once, and you'll see it drops down. It defaults to full power or high. Press it again, you're on medium. Press it again, you're obviously on low, and then it jumps back to full power or high heat mode. Getting these on is a little bit of, I'm not going to say a challenge because none of this stuff is difficult, but it is a little bit tricky. I don't even want to say tricky, but when I think of a pair of gloves, generally gloves just slide on really easily. So with these, because that battery is so large, get a nice grip on them and then just kind of squeeze your hand in. Put it on the right hand, of course. Let me take off my watch here. They will get in the way if you're wearing like a watch. But kind of get your hand in there, slide on. Not too difficult. Same thing with the other side. Just make sure you grip it. Get a nice grip on the end and squeeze that battery past your hand. And then, of course, turn on the other side, press and hold. You see it lights up. We're in the high mode. Now, I had these on as far as testing. I am in my office, of course. We don't have any, it's obviously, I don't know, we're coming to an end on summer. We're probably about 75 degrees today. And so, I think that you'll notice these a lot more when you use these in like cold conditions. In my office, leaving them on for about 5 minutes. Don't expect these gloves to really get hot like a heating pad. They just basically take the chill out. That's the best way of describing it. If you've ever had a heated mattress pad, generally like a heated blanket, those can get pretty hot, pretty warm, right? But a heated mattress pad, generally, those just take the chill out. You know what I mean? When you get in bed and the sheets are real cold, which some of you may like that. I know I do sometimes. You just will feel that there's no chill anymore. And that's kind of what these do. These aren't going to get hot to burn your hands where you're like, ooh, they're getting a little warm. You're not going to experience that with these. You're just going to have a little bit of a warmth sensation across the top of your hand. There is no electrical wiring on the underside of the palm, so this is going to warm your hands from the top down, the back of your hand, back of fingers. And I never had anything like this before, so I wasn't sure how they actually worked, which does make sense because this is what you're using. You don't want those wires to get in the way. Although they are very thin wires, you can barely even feel them in there. These will definitely help to keep your hands warm, absolutely. And I really look forward to using these in the winter time. Now, these are not the, I would say, the only downside, not even a downside, the only thing I would have done a little differently on these is I kind of like things to be dual purpose. I'm not always going out on the boat crabbing, going out, doing something out where I'm outside a lot. I would have preferred these to be, and this isn't even really a gripe, but I like things to kind of be a little bit plainer. So the only thing I would have done with these is just, if not put this little kind of decorative gray stripe on there. I would just kept them all black, because if they are all black, something like this you could definitely wear with a nice wool pea coat, a leather jacket. You can still do that, of course. This is again a very small teeny little gripe. With stuff like this, you guys know, obviously I review watches and cologne a lot of times and style and fashion kind of stuff, and so part of that look is to have things kind of go together. Of course, if you're going snowboarding or you're going skiing, things are more, I guess, designed for that particular look. You know what I mean? When I'm going to throw on a nice leather jacket, some cologne, a nice watch, go out to a restaurant when it's really cold, maybe, there's been times where you just eat outside kind of environments. You want to wear, a pair of gloves, whatever the case may be. Your situation may be totally different where you live, but I like things to just kind of be able to match with what I'm wearing. Again, this wouldn't dissuade me from wearing these with like a nice pea coat, but I think just to make these a little bit more again, guys, this is a really small gripe. It's not like wearing these with a pea coat, you're going to look bad, but I just think this is more of something I think I would see on like a pair of snowboarding gloves, or more of like, a ski gloves that are more, I don't know, they always kind of do stuff like that. So I would have just got rid of that, but overall, that's, this is This is these are great. I mean, these are pretty adaptable, and you know, the neoprene, you can definitely still wear these with like nice clothes or dress clothes or whatever. What I'm trying to iterate to you guys, or have you guys picture, is like, let's say you're going out to a really nice dinner in, you know, let's say you're in the middle of New York somewhere, it's super cold, you're going to a nice dinner, you got a long business kind of dress pea coat on, you want to wear a pair of gloves. Now I have gloves that go with snowboarding jackets, right, and gloves that go with a dressy kind of look. I would like to have seen these just, again, a little bit more of a dual purpose where, yeah, I mean, you can still wear these with a kind of a dressy top coat, a top jacket like that, or an overcoat, but just getting rid of that, I think, would be just wise. And you don't have anything that kind of makes the gloves lean towards any particular, you know, group of clothing. You know what I mean? It would just be very universal. But nonetheless, this is a teeny tiny gripe, if we could even consider it a gripe. So let's get to the performance. So right now, I've been wearing them, what, maybe a couple of minutes now. I can definitely feel in my fingertips or in the back of my fingers, it's definitely getting warm. You can definitely feel it more than when I first put it on. I think what kind of helps that is when you're wearing these, remember, you are probably going to be doing something kind of active, and so your body's going to produce some natural heat as well, and that's going to help to, you know, in my opinion, just kind of help to increase you know, the heat that you're going to put out by these. This is going to help to contain the heat in your hands, basically, is my understanding of these. But I think they're great, you know. One of these products that's pretty exciting when I get something that I would never, you know, buy these for myself, only because there's time, I'm not really out in the elements all that much to warrant a pair of gloves like this that cost this much money. We're getting to that. We're looking at, so you guys know, $120 for the gloves. So I don't know what these go for. I don't know if that's competitive. I can tell you that always click the links, check them out, read about them, buy what's going to be best for you. As far as the ratings, these get four stars on Amazon. 269 ratings, which is anytime you're over 4, it's pretty good. I think these will definitely get used, and you know, like I said, I can't really ramble on too much about these. They're, you know, they're heated gloves. That's really about it. So I'm just gonna press and turn them off here, and press and hold, and you'll see the display turns off. You do have the big bright orange button there. Do the same on this side. Again, something like that, I would have liked to have seen them not have the big orange button on there, just for style, you know, style purposes. I don't think anybody on earth would look at these and say, oh, how do I turn these on? You know, it's a big giant button. I think just making those gray, you know, or something a little bit, you don't need this to be road flag or orange. So I think if this company is going to redesign these at a later date, or have a second generation, just kind of think about, you know, that these may be worn for people in the business world as well. And, you know, I would get rid of that stripe on there, and get rid of that big giant power button. You know, there's nothing wrong with having these battery powered gloves, but, you know, we don't really need to, you know, we don't really need to make that loud. There's really no point in having a big giant orange button. But overall, super comfortable. Neoprene usually is. Let's read about what they say about the gloves. So they just refer to as heated gloves liners. They say heated gloves liners for men and women. I'm not sure why they call it liners. Now maybe you can use these on inside of another pair of gloves. And when we look at the pictures here, I can see that they're actually sliding these inside of a larger pair of gloves. So that's good to know that you can actually use these with gloves. I don't see any reason why you just can't use these by themselves. That's hence the reason why they put some of that kind of, I'm going to call it grip, sort of like a grip material, like that rubber, and on the fingertips, so you can still use your phone, but they are showing it that they can be used as liners. But just keep in mind that may confuse some people. You can use them for anything. You can use them inside gloves or outside gloves. They're dual purpose. It says here the heating level will heat around 140 degrees on high level, and then 122 on medium, and then low 104. I don't think so. 140 degrees is awfully hot. You know, think about, you know, some of the, if you go get fast food somewhere, right, in chafing dishes or whatnot. I believe, unless something's changed, the minimum required temperature to have any kind of food, you know, on ready to eat food in a case, I believe is 100 or 145 degrees. So that's pretty hot. That'll burn your mouth. That'll burn your skin. So I don't think that that's correct, but it does state 140 degrees. it'll give you 2 hours, 2.5 hours of run time. If you drop it down to medium, 3 to 4, and the low, 6 to 7. If you are wearing these with another pair of gloves, I'm not sure how that would feel as far as being able to grip things, but I guess if you're snowboarding or skiing, you're not really doing that anyway. Which is something I don't do. I rarely do that. I've done it a couple times in my life. Generally, what I'll be doing is shoveling snow in the driveway. So these you could definitely use, and using a shovel with another pair of gloves. I'd probably keep them in the low setting, unless you live somewhere where it's really cold. I don't think you'll have to really crank them up if you're using these with a second pair of gloves. But if you're using these by themselves, I think you probably should kick it up to the high mode. As far as sizing, I've gotten away with using, and this is going to be a little bit difficult for you to judge. I encourage you to go to their website, go to the Amazon listing, and actually measure your palm, and that'll give you an idea of what size will fit you. But for me, this isn't going to really help you. I'm 180 pounds roughly, 5'8" roughly. Hands are, some people are short and have big hands and vice versa. So, but I am wearing a medium, and sometimes with gloves I will order a small. And I've gotten away with wearing a small if I want like a tighter leather fit. With these, a small would not fit me. So I think these generally might run a little bit small. I would order, I might consider upsizing the order. So if you do decide to get these. But that's really about it. Just says heating areas, 5 fingers in the back of the hand, which is, I mentioned already. As far as the material, let's see here. I'm not going to read everything. Yeah, I don't think they mention the material here. It says here, it just talks about, and like I said, I encourage you guys to go to the listing, go to the Amazon listing. I'll put the link in the description, read about it yourself. But it just mentions that they're rechargeable heated gloves for men and women. The outer layer is made of windproof material. Heated gloves liners are made from breathable and comfortable velvet material. Yeah, it definitely feels like a velvet type material on the inside, almost like you feel like suede. On the outside, neoprene has a certain odor. I'm pretty sure these are neoprene, but like I said with any of this stuff, return policy is always pretty good on Amazon. I do believe, yeah, this one does have free returns. It's on some sizes and colors. So just kind of keep that in mind if you do order. Read the fine print. I hate for you guys to get something and then be disappointed and then have to return it and then not be able to. So just kind of read the fine print. Make sure these are going to work for you. Make sure you can return them if you don't like them. But I think these are great. Overall, my small gripes, they're fantastic. They're going to get used, and I like them. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, drop me a comment, drop me an email. I'm always here to help. Please use my link in the description if you do make a purchase. Let me know if you do. I'm always happy to hear about your experience with the types of products that I review. It's great for me to give you guys my review, but I love hearing back from you guys. So drop a comment, let me know. Again, the name is Matkao. So I want to thank them for their generosity in sending these out. Hopefully we get to work with them in the future on other things. And as always, guys, have a wonderful weekend and take care.